live now to our political editor, Darren McCaffrey, who, yes, there he is outside the most famous front door in Britain, 10 Downing Street. Darren, what's the latest?
Yeah, and it must be said, a front door behind which you'll still find Boris Johnson. Because Patrick, he remains as Prime Minister. He will do so for another day or so, but Liz Truss will be packing her bags and getting ready to move in. As you say, she is now the new Conservative leader. 57% of Conservative members decided to back her. In the end, probably not as great a margin as some had predicted, and that is a sign, I think, of the difficult task, let's be very frank about this, that Liz Truss is going to face in the days, weeks and months to come. After all, she only got into the final two by scraping by Penny Mordaunt. Rishi Sunak was by far the most popular amongst Conservative MPs, and I think all this could have an influence in the end about who she appoints around that cabinet table. But let's take you through what's going to happen in the next 24 hours or so. Liz Truss this afternoon has been in at CCHQ, Conservative Party headquarters here in central London, meeting those staff, thanking them for what they've done over the summer when it comes to that election campaign. I don't suspect we're going to hear from her for the rest of the day. Then tomorrow morning, Boris Johnson's going to emerge from that door behind me, with Larry the cat there in the background, and he is going to make a speech, his final speech as Prime Minister, on the steps of Downing Street before flying up to Scotland to meet the Queen, where he'll tender his resignation. And then, waiting in the wings, Liz Truss will walk into that same room and she will be asked by Her Majesty the Queen to form a government. She'll then return here to London and to Downing Street. We're expecting her to address the nation at around 4 p.m. before appointing that cabinet. And then the cold, hard reality of governing really will come in to vision, into focus. She's got Prime Minister's question time on Wednesday, but those big decisions about how to deal with the energy crisis, Patrick, how to deal with the British economy that apparently, according to forecasts, is hurtling towards a recession, how to deal with a National Health Service that's facing a very difficult winter, how to tackle that continuing migration crisis in the Channel. All that and so much more means it is going to be a very, very difficult first couple of weeks for Liz Truss. No honeymoon period here, but she's insistent that she will deliver. And we heard that time and time again, didn't we, during her speech, that she is here to deliver for the British public. She feels she's got the mandate to do so, and that she's got the team, and she would say the ideas, in order to grow Britain's economy and to get the country back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit a lot of the key points there, if not all of them. Darren, we've got a poll running right now out at GBNews. What's the big issue for you going forward with Truss? Immigration, cost of living, war in Ukraine, fixing public services. Get those emails coming in as well. GBviews at gbnews.uk. We'll be talking about all the runners and riders when it comes to cabinet appointments. But Darren, I'm keen to find out what some of the political opponents have been saying. What have you got for us?
Well, first of all, let me just talk you through what some of the people within the party have been saying. Yeah. Boris Johnson said, first of all, congratulations to Liz Truss on her decisive win. I know she has the right plan to tackle the cost of living crisis, unite a party and continuing the great work of levelling up. Rishi Sunak, of course, she defeated. He said, thank you to everyone who voted for me in this campaign. I've said throughout that the Conservatives are one family. It's right that we now unite behind our new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, as she steers the country through difficult times. Yes, you're right in saying the opposition have also weighed in. We've heard from the Labour Party leader, Keir Starmer, this morning, Patrick, and unsurprisingly, he's slightly less impressed than Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak. Let's have a listen to what Sir Keir had to say a little earlier.
Well, we've heard far more from the latest Prime Minister about cuts to corporation tax over the summer than we have about the cost of living crisis, the single most important thing that's bearing down on so many millions of households. And that shows not only that she's out of touch, but she's not on the side of working people. So she needs to deal with the cost of living crisis, she needs to deal with the fact the NHS is on its knees, and she needs to deal with the collapse of law and order.
That was Keir Starmer speaking a little earlier. As you suggested at the top of the programme, Patrick, this is another momentous day, a momentous week in British politics. We've had a fair few of those recently, but it is again going to be notable that Liz Truss, now Conservative leader, will be our new Prime Minister tomorrow, Britain's 56th Prime Minister, and indeed our third female Prime Minister. She'll be behind that door about this time tomorrow, making those big decisions that will matter to all of our lives.